we're going to go ahead and get started officially now. Here is our agenda for today. We're going to learn a little bit more about you by learning about where you're joining from. We'll tell you a little about who we are in just a minute, and why the Masters of Energy Transition, and why now? Why is now a great time to join this course? And we'll also talk to you about why the Dartmouth Irving Institute for Energy Society is a great place to do that, as well as curriculum, interdisciplinary projects, and experiential learning tracks. We'll talk to you about our faculty and mentors, what Dartmouth is like as a college, and where we're located in the world. We'll introduce you to the Met staff, as well as give you an overview on the application and admissions process. And then we'd love to open it up to questions using the question and answer function of Zoom. So just to kick us off, my name is Madeleine Bothe. I'm the Admissions and Recruitment Manager for the Masters of Energy Transition here at Dartmouth. And I'm joined here with Megan Litwhiler, Dr. Megan Litwhiler, who was your initial point of contact here on the webinar, and Dr. Amanda Graham, who is joining us today as well, and Jackie Firsty, who is also part of our team here. And we'll give you a little bit more information about all of us in just a minute. So again, if you're just joining us, feel free to add in the chat where you're joining from, and maybe anything that you're excited about learning about today. Amanda?
Thank you, Madeleine. Good morning, everyone. We are thrilled to have you here because we're thrilled to talk with you about this program. So the Master of Energy Transition is a brand new program. We have our first cohort of students with us here in Hanover now, just this fall, started in September. The whole purpose of the Master of Energy Transition really is to meet the mission of the moment. As we are, all aware, the world is full of challenges in the energy space, and energy is one of the fundamental elements that makes our society, our modern society, possible. And so with that area under pressure and under transition, it's really important that we support and develop folks who are skilled with and capable and passionate about being leaders in this space. And so the mission of the MET program is to prepare those leaders and those problem solvers to accelerate our energy transitions toward a world where energy is affordable, reliable, sustainable, clean, and equitable. So I just mentioned the global conditions. We are at a moment where the energy sector is responsible for a huge proportion of greenhouse gas emissions, and those emissions need to be cut drastically if we're able to avoid the worst outcomes of climate change. And at the same time, we depend on it for so much. We depend on it for our health systems, for our transportation systems, for our data systems, among others. All over the world, we see energy at the center of geopolitical issues, the center of regional and national security issues. It's vital for economic growth, and is a part of our well-being, right down to the individual household level. So what we're seeking to do with this program is to grow the ranks of folks who can lead and catalyze transitions towards better systems in order to address these urgent needs. And in this space, we are really aware that there have been for many years a really significant degree of job growth in this area as our energy systems become increasingly complex, as they seek to become updated, as they seek to wrangle with emerging technologies, with policy innovations. There has been a growing need for professionals in this space, diverse professionals in this space, who are able to leverage a wide range of disciplinary backgrounds, but to bring those together in the complex system that is our energy platform for making the world run. So up until recently, clean energy jobs have been growing at more than twice the rate of other positions, particularly in the United States. This job growth and this job transformation continues globally. And we expect from the context of the World Economic Forum, we expect that growth to continue to accelerate and to continue to need workers who are skilled professionals in order to foster innovation, creativity, and leadership in that transition. And so finally, at a glance, these are the dimensions of the program that we have crafted in order to meet this global moment. It is specifically designed as a short program, so it is a 9-month professional degree, and this is intended to ensure that you can get in and get out and back into the workplace to start leading and making a difference and making an impact. It is based here in Hanover at our Dartmouth campus, right on the border between Vermont and New Hampshire in the northeastern part of the United States. And in those 9 months, students take 9 courses, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of those courses. There is no separate thesis requirement. It is a course-based degree. And those courses are special, and Jackie will tell us a little bit about some of the elements of those courses in a few minutes as well. And it is designed for a wide range of motivated learners, right? And so the most important element of the application process is to demonstrate why it is that you are passionate about engaging and leading in the energy transition. We're looking for folks from across all disciplinary perspectives, from across any sector. We really take seriously that this is a multidisciplinary program, both from the standpoint of those who are pursuing it and from the standpoint of the curriculum that we have developed. And finally, it is a STEM designated program, which means that currently all international students who complete the program under the current regulatory framework are eligible for STEM OPT. Madeleine, I think I'm handing it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So here are the mission and the vision for the Arthur L. Irving Institute for Energy and Society at Dartmouth. But above all, we exist to bring Dartmouth and our local community together to enable and empower individuals and groups of people to contribute in the energy space in a way that, it positively impacts the local society as well as the global society. So that's how I see it when I sort of walk into our building. So I feel like this is a great place to host the Masters of Energy Transition. I just mentioned our beautiful building. We have a fantastic building that is LEED Platinum certified. The LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So it definitely stands out and achieves the highest rating that it can possibly have. And it's probably one of the newest, if not the newest building on campus. I mean, there are plenty of them being built right now amongst Dartmouth's current energy transition, but it's really a fantastic center place of campus. It also hosts the Sustainability Office, the Tuck Rever Center for Energy, Sustainability and Innovation, some climate modeling and impacts group, as well as other research groups here. The Fern Cafe, there's a little cafe, and it's an amazing place, as you can see in the picture, for people to come and study and network and just kind of join part of campus life with a lot of collaboration space. I think I'm handing over to Megan.
Great, thank you, Madeline. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the important elements of the Master of Energy transition, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into each one of these. But Amanda mentioned all of this a little bit, but some of the really important pieces to note about this really unique program is that, it's of course, we're at Dartmouth College and we have world-class faculty teaching here and in the program. And so we have those faculty in our program as well as expert practitioners in the field. You're supported in the program and at Dartmouth as students with a really dedicated network of our alumni. We have so many alumni working in really fascinating areas of energy and climate. They are experts, they're leaders, and they are really, really excited to work with our students and to help our students build their careers and succeed after their time at Dartmouth. Not only do we have an amazing group of alumni on our advisory board at the Irving Institute for Energy and Society, but a broader network too, and they're all really excited to engage with the Master of Energy transition program and our students. As Amanda mentioned, the coursework in this program is highly multidisciplinary. And so it's not specifically an engineering degree or a policy degree. It's very much a multidisciplinary degree that's going to allow you to, whether your focus is on engineering or it's on policy or it's on business, to allow you to be able um, to talk to and intersect with all of these different sectors, which is really, really important in any field that you're going to be going into in energy transitions. Jackie, in a minute, is going to talk a little more about the real world experience that you gain through this program through our course integrated projects. So that's a really important part of gaining experience through this really short program and getting to connect with some really real world opportunities. Um, and then it's also cohort based. So the program is entirely on campus and it's a small cohort. So you're actually learning from your peers as you go through the program, which is really exciting. We have students with a lot of different types of backgrounds and interests. So as you work with and interact with your peers in the program, it really mirrors the kind of interactions that you'll be having in your careers, intersecting with a lot of different types of people and being able to work in really multidisciplinary teams. So you actually are able to practice that really important skill as you're learning in the program just from working with your peers. And so the curriculum is arranged in these sort of three themes. So we have technology of energy systems that includes a an introductory course on the technology of current and future energy systems, a data analytics for energy and climate course, and an energy systems modeling course. And then the next theme is business and economics of energy. This includes a team dynamics and professional communications course that prepares you to be um, really skilled at talking to people in a multidisciplinary and multi-sector environment. It includes energy markets and economics and financing and accounting for the energy transition. And then finally, we have a science policy and impact of energy theme, which includes three courses as well: climate science and the energy transition, energy law and policy, and community and global resilience and energy transitions. That's going to be focused on community engagement and energy justice.
And if I could just jump in for a quick minute to supplement that, thanks, Megan. You'll see that we've color coded the courses here because we have divided the curriculum up so that you're not taking all technology in one term and all business in another term, right? So there are this program course covers three 10-week terms at Dartmouth, and you'll be taking one course from each of those dimensions each term. And we've really the challenge with developing the curriculum is that um, uh, you can't stuff everything about energy into any one program, no matter how hard you try. And a 9-month curriculum is particularly condensed. But these are the skill sets that were and topical areas that were really highlighted for us as the most critical from our partners in the business space, both among alumni and among other businesses that we have close relationships with. And so the program really seeks to ensure that you can not only navigate the emerging technologies and the changing economic, business, and financial conditions that are so critical in making energy change, but also that you are able to place that in the context of top-notch science and social science that enable you to be effective in the world at large and in particular in the policy space. Thanks, Madeleine.
You're welcome.
All right, so Megan and Amanda and Madeleine have all alluded to this component of the degree, but I'm excited to tell you all more about it. So As Mez mentioned, this degree is 9 months. So we're really trying to think about how can we integrate real world experience into the period that you are here with us in those 9 months. And so we are really excited to be incorporating course integrated projects into the degree. So the majority, not all, but the majority of courses in the degree will have a project-based component. So what we are doing is working with real-world organizations on problems that they're actively trying to solve. And we are having them work with us throughout these courses and having projects that are related to the topics that you are learning in those courses. So they have a problem they need to solve. They need some support, on the data analysis. And so within that data analytics class, for example, you'll have a project that allows you to utilize the skills that you're learning in class to solve a real problem that these organizations have. And it gives you an opportunity to work with partners, see what it's like to work with an organization, with a company. And we are really trying to, give you that real world experience on these projects that are interdisciplinary, right? They are focusing hopefully on the skill set that you are learning in class, but applying it to a problem that has multiple dimensions. And so many of the partnerships that we have with organizations are in leading industries with organizations across the different sectors, nonprofit, large Fortune 500 companies, smaller local businesses, and other types of organizations, as well as academia. So we are really excited to be giving you these opportunities to work on this real-time data and these hands-on projects. Next slide. So here are some examples of projects that are going on right now in our technology of current and future energy systems class. And you can kind of see the range that we're working with here. So, we have a project regarding Dartmouth's decarbonization on campus. So Dartmouth has made a really great commitment to $500 million of decarbonization in the next few decades. Really, really committed to decarbonizing the campus. And so there's a group working on cogeneration and swapping into a geothermal exchange system. And how do we think about that change of a system, and that's not exactly perfect yet. And so where do we find some additional energy systems and transition support? We have a project with a very well-known local business, which is why there's an exclamation point here, Lou's. It is a restaurant on Main Street that is beloved by many in the Dartmouth community for many decades, and they are thinking about waste heat recovery. How do we think about utilizing heat within the building within a restaurant, and then how can that possibly be valuable for other restaurants to learn from? And then we've got a project here, data-driven prediction of strategic energy storage. We've got a project that's with GE. We've got a project, so GE Vernova, large Fortune 500 company in the energy space. We've got a project with waste to energy startup, thinking about where do they site projects based on location with the waste value chain. We have a project with Eversource, which is a major utility in the United States, working on utilizing AI to detect broken insulators and using transmission drone inspection images. We also have a project with a local southern New Hampshire golf course and a company that is based off of that golf course. They are actually doing smart charging for electric golf carts, and then thinking about, okay, let's think about discharging energy at the right times that makes sense with different policies and with the way that the load system works. You might need energy at certain times, but how do we also think about the parameters of the actual golf course and when they need energy, and then how do we take those findings and apply it to future commercial facilities? So wide range of projects, just to give an example of what you might be working on if you come join us for this degree.
One of the things I love about this batch of projects, if we could just go back to that previous slide for a sec, is that we really are straddling, right, the very local and the much more, national or global. And that remains our intent, right, when we are providing support to instructors in their various courses, is to, give that option of the range of possibilities, both local and global, because they experience in both of those really is really valuable, and being able to apply your experience in multiple spaces, get to know multiple different stakeholders and engage with them in a long-term relationship is a really important part of our experiential education dimension for the program. Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, ladies. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about career treks in my point of view, is one of the best parts about the Met, because it's an opportunity for you to travel with your cohort of other students on the Met, but also get to put in practice what you learn in the classroom and network with alumni and other people in the energy transition space around the United States. So for example, this year, the first trip that the group will be going to Boston to attend the Climate Tech Summit at Greentown Labs. So not only an opportunity to network, but also just kind of see what's happening in the clean tech space in Boston in sort of real time, but also visit with some local companies and organizations that are doing some cool things in Boston. Next, the group will be going to New York City and Houston on sort of a combined trip. New York City is an opportunity to see what the finance sector is doing in energy transition. So looking at investment firms, banks, insurance companies, and other sort of larger companies that are based in New York City to see where they're putting their money in the energy transition space. We have a number of alumni in power and utilities, banking, natural capital, ESG, and oil and gas departments of their firms. So really a dynamic place to visit and to network. And then traveling down to Houston, which, as you can imagine, is a major energy hub in not only the United States, but in the world. And this is where energy companies are prioritizing their energy transition practices. It's also home for major consulting companies and their energy practices as well. And I can speak on behalf of a number of alumni who are based there. It had consulting companies, but also a number of other firms to specifically for the energy transition space. It's also a fun place to have field visits and kind of see what's happening on the ground. And then finally, the trip to San Francisco and the Bay Area is really to see what the clean tech industry is doing in when you're sort of combining it with the tech industry, but also what the environmental perspectives are for those companies. They're really leveraging the region's strong tech sector to develop their products and services. And it's a very different environment to Boston, New York City, and Houston. And it's a lot of fun to sort of travel around and visit those different companies. Also, the transportation sector has a great, especially the sort of EV and AV companies, and also companies looking at carbon capture are based there. So really dynamic places to go and visit. Next, we'll tell you a little bit more about our faculty here.
I think this is over to me, right, Madeleine?
Yes, thank you,
Great, thank
Amanda.
you. So we have put together a really wonderful group of faculty for the program this year, and several of them are based in our School of Engineering, the Thayer School of Engineering. So Song Chen is an assistant professor there. She'll be teaching our data analytics course in winter term. Shu Chen Song, Dr. Shu Chen Song, is a postdoctoral fellow and lecturer who will be teaching our energy systems modeling course in spring term. And these are the supplements to the technology focused course that Jackie was talking about to flesh out that thread. See, it's important not just to have a really good landscape view of what are the emerging technologies and infrastructures, but also how do you develop the skills in data and analytics, in visualization, and in unpacking the assumptions behind energy systems modeling in order to navigate that dimension of the work that's ahead of you. Krista Daniels is a longtime faculty member at a local college, Antioch College, and has been really engaged in community-based participatory processes for climate adaptation. She's a city planner by training, and so she brings that local urban, how do we engage with human settlements at the city level perspective, which is incredibly useful for the course she'll be teaching on community and global resilience in the spring term. Next slide, Madeleine. Charlie Donovan is a really super example of scholar practitioner model that we're embodying in the master's program. So as I noted, there are some faculty who are faculty at Dartmouth, and that is their primary position, primary and only position. And there are others that we're trying to make sure that we bring in people who are right now working in the field, and Charlie is one of those. He is a part-time clinical professor at the Tuck Business School, and he is also a practicing energy investment analyst and an economist at a long-standing investment firm in the Boston area. So he really straddles those worlds, and he'll be teaching our course. Finance and accounting might sound a little dry, but in fact, being able to identify where you're going to get investment and put together investment packages for new energy installations is absolutely fundamental towards getting any of these changes off the ground. You see me here. I have the great pleasure to co-teach this fall with Dr. Megan Litwhiler. We're teaching the Team Dynamics and Professional Communications course, and this is the course where we really stress how to not just search for a job effectively and land a job effectively, but how to be successful in that job from the human and organizational standpoint. We're having a blast teaching that course. And I will take this moment to mention that in addition to the 3 courses that students are taking each term, we have really argued that and take the approach that during every term in this course, all of our students should be spending at least as much time on their career development and job discernment and search process as they do on any one of their individual courses. And so Megan and I are working to support that throughout the year, not just in the context of this course. Here over on the right, you see Professor Chris Geiterman. He is a practicing climate scientist. He is funded by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He's typically affiliated with Colorado University in Boulder, but he lives here in the Upper Valley and is teaching our climate science course right now. Next slide, please, Madeleine. And then in winter term, we have the great good fortune of having Professor Elizabeth Wilson from the Environmental Studies Department teaching the Energy Law and Policy course based on a energy law textbook that she has co-authored, and the second edition of which just came out last summer. And so she's a leader in that field, and it's she'll be I think having pretty significant impact via that anchor course. And finally, Professor Jumbo Zhao, who is at the Thayer School of Engineering and is currently teaching the technology course that includes the projects that Jackie articulated for us earlier.
Thanks, Amanda. You can highlight our mentors.
I'd be happy to. So you're getting a sense of the community that we're building around this master's program. There are the staff that you see here in front of you. There are the faculty that we've just outlined. And really critically, we've mentioned an alumni advisory board and the Dartmouth Alumni Network broadly. I've worked in higher education for 25 years, and I have never met a crowd of alumni who were more deeply committed to giving back to current students than Dartmouth alumni. They really are exceptional. These are just 4 of the individuals from our advisory board who are very active in the mentorship of undergraduate and graduate students at Dartmouth. And they represent a really amazing spectrum from Abby Hopper, who is president and CEO of the Solar Energy Industry Association and very active in the Washington, D.C. policy space, to Alex Figueroa, who is an energy investment innovator and an entrepreneur. Dan Kalafatis launched 3 Degrees, which is a groundbreaking, growing consultancy isn't the right word, Jackie, but it's an enterprise that engages with a wide range of businesses, governments, and organizations to help to identify energy transition and climate adaptation strategies. I'll leave it at that. And Dr. Rose Matiso is an innovator in her own right. She has her PhD from here in the engineering school, and she is an incredible advocate and an entrepreneur in the social space, right? Leading on energy education and other forms of education based in Africa, and seeking to ensure that that women and girls are have access to the best education to help them to get into the fields where they can make the most difference. And so this is just a little, the tip of the iceberg on the alumni crowd that we have. Every MET student is matched with an alumni mentor before they enter the program. And then we work with them, and their mentors work with them throughout the year to identify their own personal board of advisors, if you will, to help them to get the right footing as they seek to pursue careers in this space.
Thank you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Dartmouth and where it's situated. The Irving Institute is situated between the Thayer School of Engineering and the Tuck School of Business here at Dartmouth. We're all kind of lined up in a row, but purposefully so that we can work with each other and in a very dynamic and sort of one-to-one way. We're situated on the west side of campus, which is sort of down along Avenue, down, and you can see the library from our buildings. But the entire Dartmouth campus is very walkable. There are sort of local buses and lots of bikes and scooters going around campus as well. But it's not a huge sprawled out campus. It's very contained within the town of Hanover. So there's a lot of overlap with the town as well, as Jackie mentioned, with some of the projects. Yeah, it's a beautiful space, and we love working in it. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
It was a really deliberate decision to put the Irving Institute in our new building when it opened 3.5 years ago. Really deliberate decision to place it where it is, because it really is a crossroads, right? And it makes it really easy to engage with, with graduate students in the engineering school and in the business school, and also with our colleagues at the Guarini School of Arts and Sciences, the Guarini School of Advanced and Graduate Studies that has its home up in the Arts and Sciences district or area. So it's a really well placed spot for us to be in.
Yeah, and I'll just add that Dartmouth is in New England, and I'll get to the next slide in a minute, but it's pertinent now because there are 4 very distinct seasons in the Upper Valley. Winter being one of them, we get a lot of snow, but we're really good at clearing snow. The school doesn't shut down when there's lots of snow, and the facilities departments, they really clean everything up so the campus continues to be very walkable and easy to get around, especially with some winter boots and winter coats. So the Dartmouth campus is located in Hanover, New Hampshire, which is about 2.5 hours north of Boston. It's very well connected to Boston. We have 12 buses a day that go back and forth from Hanover to Boston's airport or downtown Boston, which is really accessible. And even in those wintry conditions, those buses typically run. It's, if you get 2 feet of snow, maybe the bus is going to skip a few sessions, but it'll be back up and running within 12 hours. We're about 5 hours north of New York City, and there are 2 buses a day to New York as well. So it's pretty easy drive, and nice to let somebody else do that drive for you. There are also some trains that go to New York, as well as some local flights from the neighboring town. And Montreal is also just 3 hours north of Hanover, New Hampshire too. So we're in a really beautiful part of the world. And I think that we spoke a little bit about the alumni network. And the reason the alumni network is so strong is because Hanover is a beautiful and contained spot where people come and they really get immersed in their community and get to know people and then stay connected beyond their time at Dartmouth. So yeah, we're nicely located, but in a very isolated part of the New England, United States. And so here are a little bit more about the staff that work here. Professor Jeff Parker, he couldn't be with us today, but he is around and he works in our building. He is a professor at the Thayer School and at the Tuck School, and he's done a lot of work in this space, and loves talking about the Master of Energy Transition. So we love having him part of the team. And you've met Dr. Amanda Graham and Dr. Megan Litwhiler. And a little about myself, I've worked at Dartmouth on and off for the last 8 years, and worked at the Tuck School prior to this role. So I love being part of students and making sure that I can enable students to do the best that they can do in the energy and climate space. And you met Jackie, who's our Tech to Market Program Manager here at the Irving Institute. And the other two people that are important parts of our team are Casey Crafton and Beam Lortabanakwas. And they are essential parts of our team, and make sure that the Met is a great place for students, and making sure that students get the best experience that they can get. And that's our team. So a little bit more about the application process. I see some questions coming in about it, so hopefully I can answer them before we get to the Q&A section of the presentation. But if not, please feel free to add those questions to the Q&A. So the Met is housed in Dartmouth's Guarini School of Graduate and Advanced Studies, and that's where applications will be submitted online through their application portal. So once this presentation is over, you'll probably get an email from them saying where you can apply, if you want to start your application and learn more about what the application entails. But make sure you select the Met as your desired degree program and complete the supplemental application pages that come after that. You'll be required to submit 3 letters of recommendation, 2 of them from college professors, and a third, an optional fourth, from an employer, or someone else you know through any professional or community activity that you've engaged in the past or currently engaged in. GRE scores are not required or accepted for the Met, so you don't need to submit any standardized testing scores for us. The priority deadline is January 15th. So in just a couple of months, believe it or not, that's when the first application deadline is. But you can submit applications starting now. The applications are open. And the final deadline will be March 15th, and that's really the sort of drop deadline for any outstanding applications. So the tuition is here for per term, and the total tuition cost is $69,207. But there is financial aid for applicants, and you can apply for that at the time of application. So you don't submit your application and then apply for financial aid. You do that at the same time simultaneously. And you'll find more information about student fees and the estimate of living expenses on the Guarini website. And the scholarships, we don't have scholarships for everybody, and they can cover up to 40% of fees. But that doesn't mean you can't get external financial aid or scholarships from other organizations. So we encourage you to apply for those if you need them. And yeah, make sure that you do indicate that you're applying for financial aid at the time of application. And there's lots of other information on the Met website, and we'll put that link in the chat in just a minute for you to be able to click on to find more information. So there aren't any, there's a couple questions in the chat. I can see that there are no fully funded places for the Met through Dartmouth. But again, you can apply for scholarships and financial aid through other means if you need it. So now we'd love to open it up to more questions. So please feel free to pop them in the Q&A section. And yeah, if there's anything else we can help with, I am available for office hours between 11:30 and 12:30 a.m. on Wednesdays, and that's Eastern Standard Time. So, but feel free, we'll give you the link for that as well to see if you want to join those. I'm also available for one-to-one sessions if you have any really specific questions about your situation, and we'll put the link in the chat for that as well.
Thank you, Madeleine. I see a couple of questions in here that I'm happy to take. One question from Peter. Do you plan assistantships for international students? Great question. You can apply for teaching assistantships or for other student employment as one way to offset the cost of the program. And that would be a supplement to any scholarship that you were awarded upon admission to the program. Also, I note the question, is this a career-oriented program or more academic-based? It is absolutely a professionally oriented program. It is not a research program. I will note that several of our current students are in the program as a bridge towards their intention to pursue PhD programs. And so, everyone's career pathway is different, right, and is distinct. And so, the answer to your question really is it depends, right? And I think that's something that we'd be happy to talk with you more about. And I would, also recommend that you talk with others about sort of your ultimate destination, what you're seeking to achieve, and what the right steps are to pursue along the way. We have students who are also interested in law school and other graduate school opportunities, right? So also, I think potential MBAs in there in the mix as well. So, that's one of the advantages of this being a short, intensive program to give you that lay of the land, very practical lay of the land, very practical network. It can then be leveraged for other sorts of activities going forward. I see a question here, Madeleine. I've been out of college for 10 years now. Employers are better able to provide recommendation. Are the college professor recommendations required?
You're right. It is hard to convince a college professor that you might not have been in touch with for the last 10 years. I would recommend reaching out to them to see if they would be able to provide a reference letter for you or recommendation. I mean, I think there would be a couple of professors that I would love to reconnect with, and this might be a great way to do that, especially if it was a course related to any of the academic disciplines really, but anyone that can sort of vouch for your academic credibility. So I would recommend that if you can do it. I also see a question about the application fee waiver. Yes, if you are joining this session and you signed up for it on our website, you are eligible for a fee waiver, and that should be automatic when you apply for the map.
There's a question here asking if you need background in energy. That is not a prerequisite. We do not have any prerequisites on a content perspective for the program. So no, you do not have to, right? You certainly need to be clear about why it is that you want to pursue this program, why this program is right for you, and why you are interested in engaging in the energy transition workforce. But no, there is not a required background. And the next question that I see is pretty quick and easy to answer. The first year cohort is 20 students, so it's a nice intimate size. We're not intending for this to be a huge program, right? We do hope to grow it to be in the 40 or 45 student range over the next several years.
Yes, and the question about international students need to get their academic transcripts evaluated when applying. I believe that Guarini does that when you upload your transcript. So they will have a medium for submitting transcripts, and that will be evaluated internally here at Dartmouth. So I don't think you need to get it externally evaluated at this point.
No, yeah, just to add to that, academic transcripts for your undergraduate degree, which is required for the program, are absolutely required on the application. So your application won't be considered complete and actually submitted until your transcripts have been uploaded.
Yeah. Are there any other questions that you have? I will also put in the chat my link for making one-to-one appointments. I haven't done that yet. I'll do that right now.
While Madeleine's doing that, I see a question here. I will be completing my undergraduate degree this December. Will that have any impact on my application? Nope. You need to have your undergraduate degree completed before you start the program. So a number of our students in the first cohort this year completed their undergraduate degree in June of 2025. So we will absolutely review your application in this time frame before you are an undergraduate graduate.
Yeah. And there's a question about, do we offer scholarship opportunities for applicants? So there is a need-based scholarship for up to 40% of the tuition cost that you can apply for at the time of submitting your application. But if you're looking for other scholarships, we welcome you to do that externally and apply for those through whether it's a country-based or a institute-based application process. If you've already evaluated your transcript, do you submit the evaluated or the home one? That's a really good question. I would recommend submitting both. Definitely the original one. That would be the priority. But I think if you've had it evaluated professionally, you could probably submit that as well. However, I believe Dartmouth will be reevaluating it themselves, so that would probably be optional.
Yeah, I think the process is outlined on the application too, and you're also welcome to reach out to the Guarini School admissions team. The email for that is on their website if you have questions about how you need to upload your transcripts. But they are your actual transcripts and then your official transcripts that come directly from your university are required for all applications. So you'll need to be able to upload your official transcripts from your undergraduate university.
Here is the Guarini email address if that's helpful to you. I can also put a link to their website, which is probably really useful as well. Are there any more burning questions? Otherwise, we'll probably wrap things up. But please feel free to get in touch with us throughout the application process or whenever you need a little bit of a hand or anything if you think of something 10 minutes from now, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, taking the time from wherever you're sitting across the globe today. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.